It was around 10:45 p.m. when I pulled over at a rest stop just off a quiet stretch of highway. I had been driving for nearly 5 hours straight, my eyes heavy and my legs stiff. The place was almost deserted, just a single flickering lamp above the restroom sign, casting an eerie yellow glow that barely touched the surrounding darkness. I remember thinking how unnervingly silent everything felt. No crickets, no wind, just the distant hum of my cooling engine. The restroom building itself looked old, concrete walls stained with time, the paint peeling from the metal door frames. I hesitated for a second. Something about it gave me pause. But nature doesn't wait for gut feelings. I grabbed my phone and flashlight and stepped inside. The moment I entered, I felt it. An odd pressure in my chest, like the air had thickened. The temperature dropped a few degrees, and I instinctively hugged myself. The lights inside were dim, one of them flickering sporadically. The smell was a mix of bleach and something else, stale, metallic, almost like rust. Or blood, but I shrugged it off. It's a public restroom after all. There were 3 stalls. The first one was open and clearly out of order. The door hung loosely and the toilet was cracked. The second stall was closed. The third had its door slightly ajar. I chose the third and stepped in, locking it behind me. The moment I sat down, I realized I couldn't hear anything, not even my own breathing. It was like someone had pressed mute on the world. Then I heard it. Very faint, like a whisper. A breath. I froze. It didn't come from outside. It was inside the restroom. I waited. Maybe someone else had come in. But I hadn't heard the door open. And that was the weird part. I should have heard footsteps. The floor was concrete and every step echoed in that place. But there had been nothing. I leaned forward slightly, peering through the crack between the stall door and the wall. The space outside looked empty. No movement, no shadow. I held my breath, trying to listen carefully. Another breath. Closer this time. I could feel it against my skin. Cold, damp. I told myself I was imagining things, that I was just tired and letting my mind play tricks. So I unlocked the door and slowly stepped out. There was no one. I went to the sink to wash my hands, trying to brush off the unease. That's when I saw the mirror. It wasn't showing my reflection. At first, I thought the glass was dirty or fogged up. But no. I wiped it with my sleeve. Still nothing. Then slowly, so slowly, I saw something begin to form in the mirror. Not me. It was a figure, tall, shadowed, head tilted at an unnatural angle, as if it was studying me. But when I turned around, nothing was there. Just the empty restroom. I felt a sharp pulse of adrenaline in my chest. I grabbed my phone to use the flashlight. The screen wouldn't turn on. It had full battery just 5 minutes ago. Dead now? I backed away toward the door, not taking my eyes off the mirror. The figure was clearer now, closer. Its mouth was open as if screaming, but there was no sound. I turned, grabbed the handle of the restroom door, and it wouldn't budge. It wasn't locked. It just wouldn't move. I pulled at the restroom door harder, both hands now gripping the cold metal handle. It didn't even rattle. It was as if it had fused into the frame. My heart began to thud wildly in my chest, the silence around me growing impossibly louder. I glanced back at the mirror, and the figure. It was gone. But the stall doors behind me, all 3 were wide open. I was sure, absolutely sure, that 2 of them had been closed just moments ago. I had walked past them. I had chosen the last one. But now, they all stood open like mouths, yawning into the void. My pulse pounded in my ears. I backed toward the sink again, searching for something, anything, that might make sense of what was happening. Then came the sound. Tap, tap, tap. A soft rhythmic noise, like bare feet slapping slowly against wet concrete. I couldn't tell where it was coming from. The acoustics of the restroom bounced the sound around in a way that made it feel like it was coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. Tap, tap. It was getting louder, closer. I spun around. Nothing. But the lights flickered again. This time, they didn't stop flickering. They stuttered violently, giving the whole room a broken strobe-lit feel. That's when I saw it. A figure. In the stall. Not standing. Hanging. Just for a second, under the flickering lights, I saw legs. Bare, pale, swaying slightly above the floor. The stall door moved a little with each sway, not creaking, not slamming, just enough to make me question whether I'd really seen anything at all. I blinked, and the figure was gone. All the stalls were closed again. I backed toward the door. My breathing was ragged now, shallow and fast. I could feel sweat dripping down my neck despite the cold. Then a stall door creaked. Not slowly, not dramatically. It slammed open. Bang! The sound rang out like a gunshot in the enclosed space, and I nearly dropped my phone. There was nothing inside. No person, no body. But the toilet? It was full, not of water. Full of dark, thick, red, black sludge like coagulated blood. The stench hit me like a wave, coppery, rotten, suffocating. I gagged, covering my mouth and stepping back, and then, right behind me, a whisper, right behind me. "Do you see me now?" I turned instantly, swinging my phone flashlight toward the voice, but there was no one there. Only the mirror. And in it, a handprint, a fresh one. Small, delicate, pressed flat against the inside of the mirror. Not the surface, the inside. And as I watched, another handprint appeared beside it. Then another, and another, until the entire mirror was covered with them, as if someone, or something, was trapped behind the glass, trying to get out. I stumbled backward again, nearly falling, and that's when the light went out completely. Pitch black. The kind of black where you don't know if your eyes are open or shut. I screamed. I didn't even recognize my own voice. It sounded foreign, strangled. In the darkness, something touched my back. Cold, wet, fingertips. I ran. I didn't know where I was running to. I couldn't see. But I sprinted across the restroom, slamming into the wall, trying to feel for the door again, still sealed shut. The whisper came again. This time closer. This time, inside my head. "Don't leave. You just got here." I banged on the door with my fists, screaming for help, though I knew no one could hear me. No one had come in. No one would. And then, a giggle. High-pitched, childlike, echoing from within the stalls. I turned slowly, breath catching in my throat. All 3 stalls were open again. Inside the first one stood a small child. A little girl, no older than 7, wearing a hospital gown stained at the bottom, barefoot, her head down so her hair covered her face. She slowly stepped forward, her feet making that same tap-tap sound I'd heard earlier. With each step she took, the lights above briefly flickered back on, as if reacting to her presence. Tap, flicker, tap, flicker. I wanted to scream. I wanted to move, but I couldn't. Then she raised her head. Her eyes were hollow, no pupils, no white, just darkness. She didn't speak. She just looked at me. And then she pointed, not at me, behind me, and whispered one word. His. I spun around, heart racing, and saw, reflected in the mirror, another figure standing directly behind me. A man, tall, gaunt, his skin stretched unnaturally tight across his bones, eyes wide and black, a crooked smile that looked carved into his face. He raised a hand slowly, and so did the real version of him behind me, because in the split second after the mirror showed me him, I felt his breath on my neck, and it was ice cold. I don't remember turning. I don't remember moving at all. But suddenly I was facing him. It, the tall man. He stood just inches away, and I could now see every horrifying detail of his face. His eyes weren't just black. They were hollow, empty sockets, yet they stared at me, as if seeing more than sight should allow. His mouth, that grotesque carved smile, slowly widened, cracking the corners of his lips until they bled. And then he spoke, not with a voice, not with sound, but in my mind. You opened the door. His hand reached out, long fingers stretching toward my face. I screamed again, flinching away, expecting to feel his cold touch, but instead, silence. Nothing. When I opened my eyes, the restroom was empty. The lights were back on, still dim, still flickering, but on. The stalls were closed again. The mirror was cracked, a single jagged line running through the center. But the handprints were gone. There was no child, no man, no blood. Only me. I ran to the door once more. This time, it opened effortlessly, like it had never been locked. The night air hit me like a wave of relief. I stumbled out, heart racing, nearly collapsing on the gravel path that led back to my car. I looked back once, and for a second I thought I saw something in the window of the restroom. A face watching. But I didn't wait. I jumped in my car, locked the doors, and started the engine. As I sped away, I kept glancing in the rearview mirror, half expecting to see that little girl sitting in my back seat or that tall man's shadow stretching from the trunk, but there was nothing. Only the quiet road behind me. It took me a while to convince myself I was safe. I even considered driving straight through the night. But eventually, exhaustion caught up with me. I pulled over at a motel 2 towns away. One with a well-lit parking lot, cameras, and people. I needed to feel human again. That night I barely slept. I kept the bathroom light on and left the door open. But the weirdest part, when I woke up in the morning and went to wash my face, I noticed something on the bathroom mirror in my motel room. A handprint. Small, pale, faint, right in the center of the glass. I backed away slowly, heart pounding, trying to convince myself it was just leftover residue from a previous guest. But then I saw the writing. Scrawled in the condensation on the mirror, 5 words. You never really left, did you? I left the motel without checking out. Just grabbed my stuff and drove. Fast. For weeks. After that night, every time I used the restroom, I felt uneasy. Public ones were the worst. I stopped going into stalls altogether. I checked every mirror, every door, every corner. I started leaving the door open, even at home. I avoided driving at night. I installed new lights in my bathroom. Still, the feeling never left, because deep down I knew. That night at the rest stop, I didn't just encounter something evil. I brought something back. A part of it was still with me. It's been 3 months since it happened, and I'm starting to hear the whisper again. Sometimes from the mirror, sometimes from behind closed doors. And the handprints, they keep appearing, even after I clean them, always in pairs. One small, one large, like someone watching, waiting. Tonight I locked my bathroom mirror in the garage, wrapped it in cloth, taped it shut. But just now, as I sit writing this, I heard a faint tapping from the hallway. 3 soft knocks outside the bathroom door, and a whisper. Can I come in? If you ever find yourself alone at a rest stop in the middle of the night, don't go inside, no matter how badly you need to. Some doors open both ways, and some things follow you home.